Yo, quick disclaimer because I have to do this because people don't understand. This is just an opinionated video, okay? I don't need nobody to get in their feelings. I don't need nobody to get mad because I'm talking about their favorite game. This is an opinionated video, so therefore, if you have an opinion about something I say in this video, leave it down in the comment section. I have no problems with talking to you guys, debating with you guys, and in some cases, arguing with you guys. But for real though, this is opinionated. This is my opinions, and if you have something to say, please leave it in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and let's get the video started. So y'all know who it is, Nappyhead Millie here, and yes, did y'all like the glitch? Y'all like the glitch? I like the glitch. I got some new transitions on DaVinci Resolve, so now I can do a couple more things, but that's not the point of the video. The point of the video is the game that's playing right now, Final Fantasy VII Remake. I have two hot takes for this game. The first hot take is that this game by itself compared to the original Final Fantasy VII blows the original Final Fantasy VII off the water. That is hands down. You cannot debate me on this. This game is better than Final Fantasy VII original as a whole. The second hot take, and this is the one where what we're going to talk about today, mainly is going to be the main portion of the video, is that I think that the legacy that this Final Fantasy and the next two parts that's going to come with it, it's going to be bad for business in the gaming world. And I'm going to go into depth on why I feel this way. But like, share, and subscribe first and foremost. Please like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel out. It helps me out. It allows for more people to see my content. Therefore, bringing more people over to the Nappyhead family. So why not? Why not? You're surfing the internet anyway. You ain't doing that with your life. Hit the like button. Like, hit the like button. Hit the subscribe and share it with your friends. But anyway, now let's get to the gist of this conversation. So we're gonna talk about the first hot take on why I feel as though this iteration is better than the original Final Fantasy VII. Now, for me to do that, I need you to, one, look at the gameplay in the background, and two, let me explain some of the pros and cons of the game. We're gonna talk about the cons first because I need to get this out. First of all, the game is glitchy. I made sure to put this glitch in the game. I have two problems that have happened to me in this game specifically. One was I was doing one of the side missions. Is where you have to go and collect all the tiers. Oh yeah, spoilers by the way. You have to go and collect all the tiers from Cornero's secret stash. You have to collect them. That way you can get it's just skill points for Cloud, but it's still important. The mission glitched. I couldn't complete the mission at all. I.e., I got all the chests that I needed to get the diamond tiara, and it didn't allow me to get it at all. I couldn't get it. So the quest was perma-stuck, and I had to give up on a side mission. Granted, I can go back and do it later, but that's not the point. I shouldn't have to go back on hard mode to do a mission that I already completed. Another thing is, and you'll see in the video, I'll make sure to cut it in here. Quick edit here. The file actually got corrupted of the glitch of Johnny and Cloud kind of switching places and jumping back and forth. But I will try and find a link to show you guys some of the glitches that do happen in Final Fantasy VII. You see Johnny. Anytime you talk to somebody and you're not directly facing them, sometimes it'll glitch out and you'll stand there for a good 2 to 3 seconds. I mean, not 2 to 3, 30 to 40 seconds looking at the character. In this instance, my character just jumped to a whole different side. And this happened constantly in the game. Now, because this is a single player game, I don't expect for Square Enix to patch this. I don't think they really care. The game sold well. They don't give a fuck. But that's just a pet peeve to me. Another thing is the combat system. While I do love the combat system, I do feel as though it should have been, how do I put this, less limiting. I shouldn't have to fight in I get the point of the ATB gauge. They were trying to keep the old school Final Fantasy. I stand there, the gauge goes up, you know, we fight. But in that case, make it a standalone original RPG. The ATB gauge was not needed in this game, and the way it gradually feels if you're not on the character and you're not attacking with said character, it's kind of dumb to me. You know, there's plenty of times where I needed the computer to have an ATB gauge. As you'll see, I believe in this gameplay, you see that Barrett is my tank. And there's times, even in this fight, I'm fighting Behemoth at this point. there's times I needed to gauge, and I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off trying to get. This goes into my pros because while I do have a small pet peeve on the ATB gauge, I do understand that it causes a skill gap from somebody that uses shortcuts to somebody that just sit there and press X, look at the gauge, and it allows for people to take their time and figure out what they want to do, or play that Kingdom Hearts Final Fantasy 15 version where it's all fast paced. We gotta go, and I understand that. The story is the apex that blows, and here's where I go into my hot take. The story alone, even though it's the story that we've already been told about Final Fantasy 7, the way that they went back and they added just so much content to the first disc that it blew my mind. I like, for instance, there's a part in the story where you go to the above ground. I know it's not called the above ground, but for this video I'm gonna call it the above ground. You guys will be okay. They go above ground. They go to Jesse's parents' house, so you understand the impact that the Mako reactors had with Jesse's dad. You understand where Jesse came from. Come to find out, she was a famous dancer before she went to Avalanche. And it's crazy all the things that you find out about side characters otherwise you might have not cared about. You know what I'm saying? I didn't care about Jessie the first time I played Final Fantasy 7. I don't care if you get mad at me for saying that. Jessie was a trash character. And it made me love her like crazy. Also, the way they took aspects of the game that we already knew, like the whole train incident where they got marked, and instead of you being on the train, you're fighting on the train. Remember on Final Fantasy 7, you just ran to the front of the train, jumped out, now you're on the subway station. No, you were fighting on that train. You were fighting for time, and you had to destroy those robots before the timer went off or it was game over. And that taking old assets and revamping them to a better light is so good. Another con I had, I have to go back. Another con I had, and this is just a pet peeve. I do wish it was a little bit longer. For the pure fact I wanted to play as Red X. I wanted to play as Red 13. I want to play as Red 13 so bad. But that's just a pet peeve. That's just me talking smack. The side missions. Anytime a game makes you want to play side missions, it is a great game. The mission I'm doing here is the Behemoth. I probably didn't beat it by now, but it's the Behemoth fight, which is a side mission where later on in the game, after the plate has fell down on Sector 7, you're talking to everyone, and some of the town people say, hey, we've been feeling earthquakes underground. You go to the underground, and this is by random accident that I did this mission. I usually don't do side missions. This side mission made me do all the side missions in the game. Because when I went underground and I thought everything was sweet, and then I seen this Behemoth, and I was like, oh shit, oh my god. Little things like that. Final Fantasy 7, the original one, didn't make me do. I didn't care for the ruby weapons. I didn't care for none of them. It was no point to fight them. They were intricate to the story, but you didn't really care to fight them. It was just like, oh, I can fight the ruby weapons. Okay. So quick edit, part 2. I know I keep saying ruby weapon. I know there are weapons, and what I was trying to say is I didn't care to fight them. The only one I needed to fight was Ultimate, if I recall. Omega and Ruby were optional, and Diamond technically wasn't even a part of the original game, so you didn't have to fight them. So yeah, most casual players didn't, I hate to say it like this, didn't give a fuck. We didn't. But, going back and making you play, oh my god, how can I forget about this mission? The Thornberry mission. That mission is, I'm clipping it right here. The Thornberry mission is probably the funniest and most fun mission I had, because I thought it was sweet the first time I fought him, and he one-shot my whole team. So it's like, you have fun on this remake. The remake in my opinion, blows the original out the water. I feel like after playing this, I feel like I understand why they couldn't put all the story that they wanted to in the original one. But I feel like the original one could have just been like 10, 10-2, 10-3. You know how they do now. It could have been this one, and then part 2 would have been the next area, and then part 3, and that would have been the game. But that's just me. Now, let's get to the other hot take, which is the other point that I have with this game. Why I am afraid for this game in the future. While it is a great game, it does show that some companies are gonna look into this and say, "Oh, remakes are the greatest thing ever." Now, I was gonna do a video on video game trends, because right now, regardless of what anybody says, battle royales, aka shooters, so we're gonna put them in the category shooters are top dog, but remasters and remakes are starting to become the second best thing. They're starting to become the second trend within the gaming world. You know why? Because it's a lot less effort to be innovative. It's a lot of developers playing safe with what they want to do. I don't think a lot of people notice how Resident Evil 2 came out, and Resident Evil 2 blew up, which was a great remaster remake. It was a great remake. They remade the game from the ground up, and I love it. But then Resident Evil 3 came out, and I have videos of me playing Resident Evil 3. That shit is trash. It's basura. It's too short. It's trash. No. And you know what's gonna happen in next gen? Don't be surprised if Capcom say, "Well, we made so much money off of Resident Evil, we're gonna do a remake to Resident Evil 4, which is already a standalone, do not touch game. It's already perfect as is." Now, for some fans, you might like that. For some fans, you might say, "Oh, that's such a good thing. Developers are listening to us." No, they're becoming complacent. This is my opinion. I feel as though that shows that developers know they can bank off their flagship games, and therefore they don't have to put effort into other games. Let me go back, because I want to put this out on the record. I feel as though, and this is another hot take, I feel as though Final Fantasy 15 would have been a way better game if Final Fantasy 7 Remake was not in development. 100%. Because Final Fantasy 7 Remake, the reason why I say it's one of the best Final Fantasies, if not the best Final Fantasy to come out, is because it's everything we wanted 15 to be. It's everything we wanted 15 to be. And nobody can sit here and tell a lie that, no, it's not. It's everything we wanted 15 to be. We wanted it to be a Kingdom Hearts style, open world fighter. I mean, it's not open world. It's more linear like 13, but we ain't gonna talk about that. No, Final Fantasy fanboys will get mad if you call out flaws in their games. But yeah, it's a linear Kingdom Hearts. It's another linear Kingdom Hearts, if we're being honest. And that's not bad. I love Kingdom Hearts, and I love this Final Fantasy, but 15 has nothing on this game. Even with the simplicity of the game, I stuttered and I had to cut it out, y'all. I'm not even gonna hold y'all. Y'all not about to be sitting here roasting me. Even with the simplicity of the game, it's still a 10 times better game than Final Fantasy 15. What I don't want to see in the future, because it's already happened in Call of Duty, it's already kind of happened with Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, which at least Crash Bandicoot is getting a new game, so I'm hoping Spyro gets a new game. But what I don't want to see are these companies flooding the gates with nostalgic games and refusing to innovate and create a new IP. You know what I'm saying? We've already seen it with Demon Souls. We already have started seeing it with Call of Duty. Like I said, Spyro needed a revamp. At least they revamped the game to be more up to date. But I don't want them to turn around and say, "Oh, well, we did this Spyro, so we're going to do this Spyro. And then when we're going to do this Spyro, we're not going to touch any new games or come up with new ideas." I don't want it to start going into stuff like Halo, going back and saying, "We're going to remake the whole original Halo." You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to do it that way, at least do it with IPs that haven't been touched in years, that gameplay are truly outdated. Now, going back to Final Fantasy, like, I don't want to see a remake of Final Fantasy 10 and 10-2 again. I don't want you to revamp that. Go to the games that were 2D. Go to the Final Fantasy 6, the 1s, the 2s, the 3s, the 4s, the 5s. Revamp those. Go to Chrono Trigger, which people have been pleading with you to make a new Chrono Trigger, and either remake that game or make a new IP based off of Chrono Trigger. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see a new Battletoads. I don't want to see remasters becoming a way for developers to be lazy. And a lot of people, I understand, a lot of people are saying, well, it's a way to retell the story. Here's the thing. Final Fantasy VII story wasn't retold. It wasn't retold. I mean, it wasn't remade. It was retold. I'm so sorry. We already knew the story. They told the story that we already knew, but they added content to the story. While that is still good, we still knew the story. It's still sold based off of the 7 in the Final Fantasy. Let's be 100% honest about it. Now, I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy because, like I said, I'm glad that the industry is moving. I'm glad that the industry do have these ideas to take old content and make it with not a fresh coat of paint, but a whole new mechanically worked job, if that makes sense. A whole new car. I made a whole new car based off an old school aspect. That's a better saying. But I don't, like I said, I do fear that you have companies that know they can bank off of, I hate to say this, simp ass gamers that don't realize that they're playing it too safe and they don't want to innovate. But that's the end of this video. I got a couple of fights. I know a lot of people are gonna be like, "Oh, you're being trash in this game." I was loving this game. I can be as trash as I want. It don't matter. But Nappy's out. Love you guys. Like, share, subscribe, and peace.